Koffin Kats celebrate 20 years, an R Rated Paranormal Circus on tour, and the word on the street from Ted of Ted's marvelous custom Gumball Emporium, all on this Friday edition of
Spill the Guts.
I like it spooky.
Hello and
Welcome back
to your weekend. My name is Clint, and I am one of 3 co-hosts of the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast, which brings you a featured news, reviews, interviews, and entertainment show every other week, and this tri-weekly horror news blitz roundup every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Today is Friday, June 23rd, and this just in. It's been 20 years since Vic, Tommy, and E-Ball started the Koffin Kats in their parents' basement and played for beer in local Detroit bars. A psychobilly punk band with influences ranging from The Damned to The Stray Cats, the Koffin Kats have covered a lot of ground, 10 records, a few member changes, and close to 3,000 live shows from international touring. Continuously touring and releasing music, 2023 will see new music from the band while they celebrate 20 years of somehow keeping it all together for rock and roll. And tomorrow, Saturday, June 24th, they will take the stage at the Majestic Theater at 4120 Woodward Ave in Detroit, Michigan for a celebration performance as Black Iris and Magic Stick present the Koffin Kats 20th anniversary show with special guests, Amino Acids, Norco C. Horchata, and Suburban Delinquents. General admission for this all-ages show is just $20 and doors open at 7. You can find the Koffin Kats on all social media outlets, but the band likes to keep it old school and suggests you keep up with all official information on news and tours at their website, coffincatsrock.com, where you can purchase tickets for tomorrow's show. You can also purchase tickets at majesticdetroit.com.
Step this way, the strangest sight from the island.
This next story came to me from Fox 4 News out of Topeka, Kansas, which will be the first stop of the tour for the R Rated Paranormal Circus, which features a host of surprises, scares, and amusement, including acrobats, illusionists, mysterious creatures, and more that separate the show from traditional circus performances. A warning label comes attached to the show. Paranormal Circus is restricted to those under the age of 13, while those 13 to 17 must have a parent or guardian accompany them that is over the age of 21. The R-rated status of the Paranormal Circus comes from the show's use of adult language and material not intended for those under the age of 17. Under this clown castle, the black and red big top tent, acrobats of the air, illusionists, freaks, mysterious creatures, and all the elements that make one think of a normal circus, but that of normal has very little. A new show with breathtaking implications, always poised between fun and the most uninhibited fear that will transport you to a dark world inhabited by creatures with incredible circus art abilities. A crazy yet fun fusion between circus, theater, and cabaret in perfect harmony with the evolution of a show that brings you back to when we dream and when we had nightmares and fantasies. Scare, encompass, amuse, and surprise are the ingredients for a mixture of emotions impossible to forget. This is truly a paranormal experience like no other. Click over to paranormalcirque.com to check out ticket prices and see if and when the show will be in your area. And if you want to sample what you might be getting yourself into, search up Paranormal Circus on YouTube. And it's once again time to pause for station identification as we hear from our podcast network, the PFPN.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
And now, to celebrate the fact that it's Friday, we check in with our man about town, Ted from Ted's Marvelous Custom Gumball Emporium, with the word on the street.
All right now, for all you boppers out there in the big city, all you street people with an ear for the action, send the word.
Well, I regret to inform you that we won't be hearing from Ted today. I just got a message that instead of the word on the street, Ted is on the street, and his motorcycle led him to poor phone reception somewhere. So let's see here. Let's see. Something fun. It's Friday. Ooh, here we go. Did you know that the Archie comics have a horror line? The company has been steadily delivering on their love of horror with titles like Zombie-Filled Afterlife with Archie, the Vampire Slayer-driven Vampironica, and the gory werewolf tale Jughead the Hunger. According to BloodyDisgusting.com, Archie Horror manages to bring back the feelings of classic comics like Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror, and the line is back with a brand new throwback tale. The company's latest one-shot, Camp Pickens, takes place at the titular summer camp. Camp Pickens sees the beloved Archie characters spend the summer as counselors, encountering the horrors that plague the cursed site. It's an interesting premise hook that immediately calls back to such films as Sleepaway Camp and Friday the 13th. The strong premise makes you wonder why Archie and company have never been camp counselors in a horror story before. Camp Pickens uses the character of Jughead for its framing narrative, Big Hunt, written by Jordan Morris, and sees the lovable goof in charge of protecting a group of young campers as they search for bug juice, a concoction that supposedly protects anyone from Camp Pickens' death curse. The only problem is that the juice comes from giant mutated bugs that are around the campground. While on his journey, he comes across thoughts and situations that call back to other stories about his fellow counselors and the horrors they experience, allowing the narrative to break away to tell those tales. Big Hunt is a very fun monster story on its own right, one that's very humorous and in tone with the Jughead character. Diana Camaro's art is cartoonish and lighthearted in nature, bringing a humorous vibe to the story as a whole. The Curse of Camp Pickens, written by Blake Howard, is a traditional ghost story that follows over-careful camp counselor Betty Cooper. Hesitant about the curse, she takes extra precautions to make sure she's safe this summer. All of that changes, though, when Reggie tells a story of the Camp Lake's sinister nature. It's admittedly the weakest story in the collection, since we don't get to know much of Betty besides her overprotective nature. Carola Borelli's art, however, is standout as it provides some of the most haunting panels in the entire book. The final story, Down and Out and Death Cursed, is the real star of the show, written by Tim Seeley, who is also the writer of the executive horror series Hack and Slash. I love that comic. With art by Mike Norton. The story explains the origin of Camp Pickens' death curse and is a fun send-up of the slasher genre. The story follows rich girl Veronica Lodge arriving at the camp to prepare to be a counselor, but in true fashion she finds the accommodations aren't to her liking. Eventually she learns of a slasher named the Pickens Puncturer, and all hell breaks loose when he starts killing people at the camp. Down and Out and Death Cursed benefits from having the best written character in the form of Veronica, and the humor around her works quite well. There's also some clever and funny references to slasher films that fans will be quick to notice. And the ending is the best of the bunch. Overall, Archie Horror Camp Pickens is well worth reading. If witches and ghouls aren't your thing, there are plenty of bugs, masked maniacs, and ghosts here to satisfy your needs. Looks like that's the word on the street, as I'm going to be heading to my comic shop. And that's a wrap on this Friday edition of Spill the Guts. Don't forget that you can find the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast on virtually every social media platform known to man. And also, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't ever miss a Spill the Guts news blitz or feature episode like the new one dropping this coming Sunday that contains a fascinating interview with writer, producer, interviewer, and hugger Justin Beam, who pulls back the curtain of his ongoing career, including an exclusive story about the history of the name of his company, Reverend Entertainment. Until then, if you see Ted alongside the road somewhere, he might need to use your phone. I don't think he has the best service provider. Thanks for listening, and I will be back with more news this coming Monday on another edition of
Spill the Guts.
Hey, what's wrong with you, man? Show some fucking respect for the dead, will ya?